Welcome this evening to another special edition, JQLM Radio special edition, with your girl, Lady J. And before I bring on my guest, let me get the formalities out of the way. So, as always, if this is your first time tuning in to JQLM Radio, or any of the shows and you'd like to share with your family, friends, and followers on all the different ways that they can tune in, be sure to tell them to download the JQLM radio app. Guest, I need you to mute yourself, please. Uh, Make sure to tell them to download the JQLM radio app on their Apple or Android devices. You can also listen live via Amazon Alexa, TuneIn app, and Stream the Simple radio app. And you can also listen live on our website, where you can also find a host of other platforms of which you can tune in to JQLM Radio at egoentertainmentnet.com. Also, don't forget to follow, like, and share us on social media. JQLM Radio is a division of Ego Entertainment Network. Follow us on social media at Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at JQLM Radio, and Ego Entertainment at EgoEntNet. That's EGOENTNET on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Also, you can follow Ego Entertainment Network on LinkedIn. We do follow back. Don't be scared to connect with us. And last but not least, if you would like to connect with myself, Lady J, you can connect with me on social media at Lady J Brand on Facebook, ladyj.co on Instagram. I'm really not on Twitter like that, y'all, but I'm trying to do better. So connect with me there, JAQ_1. That's JAQU_ and the number one. And on LinkedIn at Lady J. And to find out more about myself and everything that I do, you can visit my website at ladyj.co. That's LADYJ.co. Now, without further ado, let's bring on our guest. Our guest today is none other than headlining comedian Miss LEAH MCBRIDE. Welcome to the show, LEAH.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
No problem. Hey, y'all, listen, we had some technical difficulties, but that's okay because this thing is still going to go forward, okay?
That's
So
right.
that's why you can't see her. So we're going to be doing audio only anyway. For those of you listening in Radio Land, y'all get the whole nine, for the show. Those of you who tune in on social media, you only get bits and pieces. So today you'll get the full show because it's all audio. So with that being said, LEAH, how you doing today?
I am doing great. How are you doing?
I'm all right. Can't complain. Wouldn't do us no good, no way.
You know it.
All right. So, well, before we get into your interview, can you tell everyone a little bit about yourself, where you're from, what you do, and a little bit about your background?
Okay. Yes, my name is LEAH MCBRIDE. I was born and raised in Cincinnati, Ohio. I do stand up comedy. I also mentor the youth. I do a lot of public speaking as well. I'm a trained public speaker. And by me growing up in the system, group homes, foster homes, yada yada. I've been told that I'm a good role model for our youth, and I just try to keep a smile on people's faces as much as possible. And I'm just blessed. I'm blessed to be here. I really am. I'm blessed to be able, to do something that I love in these days and times. It's truly a blessing.
Awesome. Awesome. So, tell us what inspired you to become a comedian?
Actually, I was inspired first by my father. May he rest in peace. My father, Simeon Yoab Israel. He passed on 7707. My dad was hilarious. And he was a veteran, so he had all these funny, army jokes. But my dad, and first, and then second would have to be Richard Pryor, because as a child, my parents would play Richard Pryor records, and I'm the oldest of my mother and father's four daughters, and I would, be sitting on the stairs at night, and sneaking and listening, and they would hear me laughing on the steps, and my dad be like, "Leah, get back in the bed." And then after a while, I think he knew I was still on the stairs, but he just didn't say anything because it was just something about it, even back then as a child, that I knew I was going to be an entertainer somehow, because I also know how to sing and I act. But I didn't, to be honest, I didn't even say I was going to be a comedian growing up. But I was voted class clown 11th and 12th grade of high school, so I was always funny. I thought I was gonna be a singer, ironically.
Well, so I've had the pleasure of seeing you a few times anyway in action, and she does do she does a mean Rick James.
Boy, I be up there clowning, don't you? Can tell I'm very animated. I be acting out my jokes and everything. I get on the ground and everything, won't I, sis?
Yes, you are. Yes, you are very animated. So you've had the opportunity to open for some major comedians, and here recently you opened for Reginald Ballard, more affectionately known as Grubman from the Fifth Flow from the Martin Show, and that show was
That's right.
absolutely fire. So tell me, um, what was the turning point in your career, do you think, that caused you to be able to start interacting with and engaging with some of comedy's biggest headliners?
You said how did that happen?
Yeah, what was the turning point? When did your career take that turn?
Okay. Let me say for the record, this I started comedy when I was living in Columbus, Ohio, and I met Dave Chappelle at the Waffle House. It was like 2:30 in the morning on 161. And when he came in, nobody knew. We were just tripping out because he was shorter than I thought he was. And make a long story short, I was in there having the whole Waffle House cracking up. And he heard me and he walked in the Waffle House and was like, "You trying to steal my thunder?" And we was all laughing. Everybody was like, "Oh my God, it's Dave Chappelle, it's Dave Chappelle." So, I grabbed my phone and I was like, "Oh, I want to come and have a picture." And I was like, "My father loves you." Because my dad didn't really like these new comics, but he loved Dave Chappelle because, of his honesty and everything.
Right,
And
right.
so he was about to pay for his food and he pulled out an American Express card. And the cashier at the Waffle House, I can't even believe they was gonna still charge this man. All he got was a grilled chicken sandwich. And she was like, she was like, "That's gonna come to 686, honey." And she was like, "I'm sorry, we don't take American Express." Honey, I reached in my bra and gave her a 20 so fast. And I don't know if you've seen the movie Home Alone, but I slid a 20 to her and I was like, "Keep the change, you filthy animal." And everybody in there was cracking up. And I was like, "I've been trying to do comedy and maybe this is a sign. Like, where should I go up here? What should I do?" And he was like, "Go to the Funny Bone at Eastern Mile and ask for a guy named Rick Patello and told him I told you to come." And sure enough, because this was the weekend, that Monday I called up there and I spoke to him and he said, told me what to do and I had to bring at least 5 people. Well, I was working at a big call center up there at the time, and honey, I used to have people used to take their lunch breaks around my lunch break so they could come in the cafeteria and laugh at me. And so when I went back to work and told, the people I was gonna do the Funny Bone, honey, like 50 people showed up from the call center and it was sold out. And I'm sitting in the back with the other comics and a couple of dudes in the back was like, "Yeah, this B is some B named Leah McBride." Cause they was like, "Who brought all these people?" They was like, "Some B named Leah McBride." And they was just like talking. I was like, "Yeah, she did. She brought all these people. I don't know who that heifer is, right?" I was talking to them. So then when they called my name and they called me to the stage, and when they called my name, I stood up and looked at them, and I was like, "I'm that B." Now, when I got on stage, what's so funny, because by me going to college, I got a thing about index cards. Girl, I had all my jokes written on these index cards, right? So I get up on stage, and I'm like, ain't nobody else reading no index cards, you know what I mean? So I want to embarrass myself, so I set them on the stool. And I don't even remember what I said, but what I remember is that the laughter and people were laughing, they were falling out of their chairs, and a couple people were spitting their drinks out. And it gave me a high that I had never gotten from any drug that I'd ever tried ever in my life. And when I got off the stage, I knew right then and there that day that's what I was supposed to be doing.
Awesome.
And that's how I started. Yep. It was in 2000. It was 2006. Yep.
Wow.
Sure did. That was a blessing. I got to start doing it before my father passed. He didn't get to physically be at a show, but you should see the way he used to just look when I would come and tell some of the jokes I told and like act my show out. My father was just so proud of me.
Awesome.
I know he still is. Yeah.
Yes, I'm sure he is. So you mentioned that that gave you a high like no other. And I know in some of your when you're on stage in some of your performances, you mentioned, how you used to be a drug addict. For those of you who don't know, she does this thing like Dave Chappelle does, where she has like a real talk moment with the audience. And so you talk about you talk about your struggle with drugs. So
Uh-huh.
can you share with everyone a little bit about how you got into that, and then what was the thing that helped pull you out of it?
Okay, sure, sure. So around like 2005 ish, it was a girl that, well, a lady, she's older than me, that I met going to Cincinnati State, which, by the way, I graduated from Cincinnati State in '98. So that shows you, you know what I mean, how I'm just telling you the time frame,
Right.
because when I graduated from Cincinnati State in '98 and I got my associate degree, I transferred to NKU, where I got my bachelor's in criminal justice, and I started law school. But so I met her, and she was just like, me and my husband, we need somebody to drive. So they basically, I needed to move, stuff in my trunk. So I was doing it. Now I will say, like when I was 14, I was selling drugs in the hallways, these apartment buildings, because my mom had gotten on crack and there was more roaches in the refrigerator than food. So initially at 14, I was selling drugs to feed my sisters and to buy them shoes and things like that. Okay. So then fast forward to this. So she comes at me and tells me all this money I can make, and I don't have to touch anything. Literally, they put it in the trunk. I never touched it, and I just popped the trunk. When I went to whichever state I was supposed to go meet the people, they took out whatever. Then I had to, come back and meet them and pop the trunk. And but what happened was, one time I was in Florida, and these Dominicans was not playing, and we were on the yacht, and they said that they thought I was too well spoken, and they thought I was the police. They had
Wow.
cocaine on the table and was like, "You need to do something, because we don't." And I never did cocaine before. I'm like, oh my God. But I was scared, because it was like, either do this drug or they gonna kill me.
Right.
So I did it, and it was the euphoric feeling that I got. It was just something about this feeling of me feeling invincible. And so I would do it. At first, I would just do it to stay up on the highway when I was trapping. Then when I started stripping, because I met somebody, and I never stripped in a strip club, just to be honest. And I knew somebody that, was dealing with different, pro ball players, and was telling me how much money I can make, and how they were always asking about me. Because, I had a real nice shape back then. I didn't even have a stomach. So I started, I started doing that. And again, I'm an innovator and I'm a hustler. So I got good at it, and then other people was asking me, certain people asking me how to get money. So I was lightweight, like pimping, but I wasn't, mistreating anybody. I was just like taking a cut and hooking other people up. And that drug, and I tell this joke on one of my clips from the Funny Bone on YouTube, that, it took cocaine to make me a hoe. I wasn't a hoe all willy nilly on my own.
Right.
And I did that drug, and then, my mom had slid some crack in on me once, and and the crazy thing about that drug is, when I smoked it, when I realized what was in the joint,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, half of me wanted to kill her, and the other half of me was like, give me some more.
Mm-hmm.
Now the thing about that drug, my brain and my body did not like it, because I already have anxiety, and so I didn't like. I was sitting looking at my mother. Like, imagine, I started getting high with my mom, and you know why I was getting high with my mother? Because I didn't really tell you. We didn't get into that. My mom abused me physically, really bad, and emotionally growing up, because I remind her a lot of my father and her brothers molested me, and yada yada yada. And I found this out from a therapist, and they told me that the reason why I was willing to do drugs with my mother was because I was willing to do anything to be close to her. Because it's like, she has never like been happy for me, or like been, you know what I mean, like
Right.
college and everything, like her abusing me as a child. And so And I did that drug with my mother, like to get close to my mother, and everything that I found out as far as like her childhood, her meeting my father, all this stuff that I never found out. She told me when we were getting high, and and I realized that was my incentive. And then what happened was, and now mind you, I could afford to do this drug financially. I could afford to do this drug.
Uh-huh.
So if you can afford to do a drug and it still tears your behind out the frame, that's bad. And
Yeah.
I didn't even do either one of those drugs an entire year. And I was working for a really, really well known and wealthy insurance company at the time. And I had great health insurance. And I'll never forget, I was getting high the whole weekend. And I remember back then, you remember when BET used to play videos all the time in music, because I'd be so
Right.
paranoid that's when you know you ain't supposed to do a drug, when you doing it in the privacy of your home and you still hiding from yourself. And so I'll never forget, it was Sunday, and you remember how they used to play gospel music,
Yeah.
and this commercial came on, and she was like, "Are you using drugs?" And I was like, "As a matter of fact, I'm sitting right here using them right now." She's like, "You need help?" I looked around at my house like, "Actually, I believe I do." She's like, "Well, call this number, right?" So something in my spirit just, so I called a number. And this place is called the Watershed. It's in Boca Raton, Florida. The Watershed saved my life. So I called, and they asked me, what I loved about them was they wouldn't let me get off the phone. And one time I did call, because they was talking, because the demon in my spirit was fighting. I was like, I don't want to hear that. The drug demon was like, hang the phone up. I hung the phone up. They kept calling back like, ugh. So I answered the phone. So I'm getting high. Understand? I'm getting high on the phone while I'm talking to these people. So they run my insurance and all this, and they were like, well, look, we can get you in. Can you come in today? Like, nah, I got to at least, find somebody. And that was the thing too. They stayed on me, and they were like, well, we want you to call and find somebody now that's gonna be willing to drop you off at the airport tomorrow, and that's gonna watch over your home while you're gone. And what I'll never forget this as long as I live. They said, whatever drugs you have, go on and use them. Get it out your system. If that's what you want to do, because that's it. And the lady was like, because actually, the more drugs that you have in your system, the more help you'll get. And I was like, okay. So, and that's what I did. But I also was washing clothes and all this to pack my suitcases and stuff. And I got somebody and everything, and went to the airport and went and flew down there. And I didn't just go to treatment. I then went to the aftercare program where we like share an apartment with I
Like
think it was like,
halfway
what was it,
housing
like
almost.
three other girls? Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So this place, so you weren't on drugs, you said for a long time.
No, 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 no. It wasn't even a whole year.
So it was good though that you were able to be um reached early in stages, because some people that demon follows them for the rest of their life. um
Yeah.
and and so uh after realizing, going to therapy and things of that sort, and realizing that, things that your mother did, affected you and things of that sort, and her being a part of, why you got hooked on another type of drug. As you continue to grow older and um continue to flourish in your career, at what point in your life did you realize that, you know I've overcome, all of these obstacles, and I've become a exception to my environment versus a product?
Okay. That's a good question. I believe that when I actually took that on and decided to do that, that's why I say that comedy saved my life. And I know that sounds ironic, because a lot of comics have a drug addiction or they suffer from a drug abuse,
Mhm.
but I had been there and done that. And so I knew that if I wanted to tell these jokes and go around, that I wouldn't be able to do that drug ever again because it would have taken that away from me. And I just and that was in 2007 is when my father died. My father died on 7/7/07. I talked to my dad like hours before he died, and it was like some of my spirit knew he was gonna go, and and my dad, when I think about the conversation, he knew he was gonna go too, and so make a long story short, um, I just it was that. And it was like my baby sister. And my baby sister, I buried her in February, and she passed this year unexpectedly. And when I saw how hurt she was, and that, she said, "Please don't do this again. I don't want to lose you."
Mhm.
And so, cause my baby sister is like my daughter, and so I knew I couldn't go back down that road because it was too many people that were rooting for me.
Right.
You
Right.
know,
Awesome.
yeah.
So now that you've you worked your way into being a headlining comedian, you've opened shows for some major comedians in the industry. You've met a lot of major comedians and things of that sort. Tell me what's next for Leah McBride.
What is next for me? Well, first off, I plan on finishing my book. It's just been a lot, like really emotionally challenging, but I'm in a really, really good space now. With that, I plan on picking back up my motivational speaking and incorporating my clean comedy with it, which is what I'm doing tonight for a fundraiser for young mothers and their children,
Awesome.
and just getting really like just I don't want to be famous and I don't want to be, all rich and famous and known everywhere because at the level that I am at, I don't like feeling like I got to be pressured to keep uploading videos or because I remember there was a time when I was always on social media entertaining people and I didn't realize that I was losing myself. And now today I'm much more concerned about my mental health and my spiritual health than I am about making people laugh because that'll always come. But with everything we're going through in today's times, I also have to keep that motivational component because I am a living testimony. I've tried to kill myself several times as a child, a teen, and an adult, and never died. I had 2 heart attacks when I was 17, had to learn how to walk again. They said I wasn't supposed to be alive. Then they said I was going to be MRDD, and I would never learn how to walk again. All my degrees I got with a 3.5 GPA or higher. I graduated with a 3.8. So what I realized was that whether I, think my mom ever wanted me or not, the Most High, the universe, and the ancestors won't. I got a lot of work to do, and to whom much is given, much is required, and I accept that. And I'm up for the challenge today. I just, I'm still struggling with this grief. I won't lie. But what I'm not going to do is pick up. I'm not going to pick up any type of drug because I tried it and it doesn't work.
Right. Right. Well, listen,
Yep.
good for you. Good for you. Keep doing your
Thank
thing.
you.
Um, so do you have any other shows coming up with giving back, motivational speaking, or clean comedy shows, or where can people like connect with you and see you on stage?
Well, thank you. Well, tonight, ironically, I am doing a 15-minute set before we do this auction that's going to be, streamed, and that's this evening. I do that from my set starts at 7 from 7 to 7:15. Other than that, I don't really have anything until like next year because I just wanted to kind of take some time to myself because I kept performing, trying to out travel my grief and it snuck up and smacked me in the back of the head.
Right.
But please follow me on Instagram because I'm trying to get my followers up at Leah the Comic. That's LEAH the Comic, COMIC. I can also be found on Facebook at comedian Leah McBride. Please inbox me so I can delete someone and add you. And I'm trying to figure TikTok out. I'm on TikTok as well. But yeah, I love to perform. I love if people contact me, and book me for whatever you need me for. I'm at the point with this economy right now. I might start babysitting again and walking dogs and selling Dixie cups.
Well, Well,
Might be break dancing. You might see me break dancing in front of Walmart, girl, for the holiday season. I'm gonna be out there with some cardboard, like, give it to me now, give it to me now.
well, Leah, I wish you continued success. I do want to thank
Oh,
you for
thank
taking time out, before your set tonight to talk with us here on JQLM Radio. We do appreciate it. We
thank
love
you.
we love your shows. Always love you on the stage. So you keep up the good work, keep performing, don't let nobody stop you. And again, condolences, in the loss of your sister.
Oh, thank you, thank you.
And for those of you who are tuning in to JQLM Radio, I want to thank you all for tuning in tonight to hear Leah McBride here on the JQLM Radio Special Edition series. This is your girl, Lady J, signing off. And you have been
All
tuned
right.
in to JQLM Radio, a division of Ego Entertainment Network.